Good afternoon, everyone. That's good. Happy University Day, the 221st birthday of American public higher education. It is such a pleasure to share this day with North Carolina's Governor, Pat McCrory. One of the first people to welcome me to the state last year. Together, he and I have built a strong and collaborative relationship. Thank you so much, Governor McCrory, for joining us at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill's historic birthday. I'd also like to welcome all of our distinguished guests, President Ross and the Platform Party, the faculty, our students, staff, members of the Board of Trustees, members of the Board of Governors, alumni, community members, and members of the legislature. It is wonderful to have you here, and a special welcome to former Chancellor Paul Hardin. Thank you for joining us today. This is a day when we celebrate the legacy of public higher education and its impact on our state. And we are doubly honored this year to have not only our current governor, but also former governor and UNC alumnus, Jim Hunt, who will be receiving a Distinguished Alumnus Award today. To our students here today, and there are many of them in the audience, they've been playing that beautiful music for you, they greeted you at the door. It's really wonderful to see you. I want you to know that I don't think there can be any other university in America that has had such a long and enduring relationship with its state and her governors. It's a special privilege to welcome and thank them both on behalf of the entire Carolina community. Just a year ago on this date, I was given the honor of my life when I was installed as the 11th chancellor. Now, 365 days later, I can honestly say that the more I've learned, the prouder I've become of Carolina. The more people I've met, the commitment, the service, and the truly outstanding research I've seen, the explosive talent and potential of our students, all of that gives me great optimism about our future. So today, on our birthday, when we celebrate our history, we also forecast our future. On October 12, 1793, William Richardson Davie, who, as you know, was a Revolutionary War officer and a statesman, laid the cornerstone of Old East. Our first building was the nation's first public university building. In that historic moment, he anchored this place to North Carolina's soil, and he guaranteed the future that we now live. Just think of it. It's a pretty daring vision. Governor Davie looked out into a wilderness, a forest at the top of a hill, and he saw a university. And he introduced an idea, revolutionary idea at the time, of a public university that would be created for the people of North Carolina. And to the lawmakers, as the state officially joined the brand new nation in 1789, he made the case. His vision created a future that also mirrored the ideals of our nation's democracy. And that vision has been expanded by every single person who has walked our campus, and it results in one of our nation's most treasured and valuable institutions. From Governor Davie onward, every North Carolina governor, just think of this, every North Carolina governor has walked these campus pathways, whether as a student, a parent, a trustee, or a distinguished guest. And they honor our university on University Day and commencement, and celebrate with us our teaching, our service, and our research. These leaders and our state's historic investment is with us whenever we walk any of our beautiful brick paths or take a few minutes to soak in the beauty of McCorkle Place. But our history, which was built from a dream, that came out of a war and rose from a wilderness can still be seen in some of the ancient trees on our campus that were here before the cornerstone was even put in place. Throughout our history, other visionaries, exemplified by our incredible platform party today, have also helped shape revolutionary paths. From 1919 to 1930, a period that spanned historic global turmoil, another time coming out of war, the Roaring Twenties, Depression. There was a president, UNC's president, Harry Chase, another person from Dartmouth, guided Carolina to national prominence as the exemplar of the modern university. He too saw what others did not. He was not giving in to despair, but he guided the university to a prominent future. As our own visionary historian Jim Laluda said in a wonderful article I hope you'll read on Chase in the Alumni magazine, he said, "In terms of the intellectual life of the university and its place nationally, Chase was the most important actor in the early 20th century." And Frank Porter Graham, who had been his mentee and who succeeded President Chase, credited Chase with leading, quote, "the greatest material expansion and intellectual advance." And how did he do it? By gathering the momentum of the past, adding values of the present, and making a new synthesis. The history that he created also drives the future that we live. With one brick, Davy dreamed us into being. With a few more bricks, by the way, Chase did a lot of building. He also raised the bar on higher education here and gave birth to the modern research university that we are. In another wonderful article by Olivia Hart, that you can see online, we can trace other historic figures who saw something others didn't see, took action, and shaped a new future for us. In 1898, Sally Walker Stoddard saw herself, a woman, being on this campus and became the first woman to receive a degree. She wasn't allowed to attend commencement, however. In 1929, Henry Owl became the first American Indian to see themselves and become a graduate of Carolina. In 1951, Oscar Diggs entered our medical school and became the first Black graduate of the School of Medicine. Today, we're all living the next chapter of all these visionaries' dreams. This year, for example, we're celebrating the 10th anniversary of the Carolina Covenant Scholars Program, which of course was a far-sighted program to give highly qualified, low-income students the chance to graduate debt-free. I recently spent time with a couple of the Covenant scholars who graduated, have already established themselves very successfully in careers, and maybe what moved me the most is they both told me they were now putting their mothers through college. This year, Carolina was recognized nationally for these historic investments as being recognized as the most economically diverse of all great public universities. Yeah, And I can look out across this room and across this platform and see many of the people who have made that true. Our leaders could not possibly have imagined the ways in which we would change and grow, but they're the people who created the opportunity for us to do it. You know, opportunity is not a crystal ball. We can't say for sure what is in store when we provide opportunity. But opportunity can absolutely turn someone's flicker of an idea into a flame, and it is truly the cornerstone of Carolina. These people couldn't have imagined the tremendous expansion of health affairs on our campus that truly saves lives across the state. They couldn't have dreamt that people like Marcia Machado Parrott from the School of Government would be helping the governments in all 100 of our counties. The concept of nanotechnology was probably a bit beyond their dreams, but today the Carolina Institute is an international leader in nanomedicine and the creation of cures. They couldn't have predicted that Professor Tom Meyer, the director of the Solar Fuels Institute, would share a $1 million prize for innovative research on alternative fuels. And they couldn't envision the power of a student who gives back, like Valerie Ashby, a North Carolina born and bred chemist who is changing the face of STEM education and who was our faculty marshal and led our procession today. I don't think they could have imagined how global we would become. I don't think they could imagine the number of jobs we would create. And I don't think they could imagine that our journalism professor, Stephen King, together with students in his mobile app class, which I'm sure they didn't imagine either, would answer the call of Liberia's Minister of Information to put their new media talents together to work to create a resource for accurate, real-time information about the Ebola crisis in Liberia. Finally, I doubt they could have imagined how essential our dedicated staff are to making our campus tick in every single way. Their expert care, their commitment to all we do, and their love of our students is essential to helping our students and our faculty prepare for a future with limitless possibilities. Now, it's pretty clear Tar Heels don't waste time, so I should probably move on in the program. But I just want to thank you again for being here and saying that by celebrating our history today, we are, of course, reaffirming our own commitment to seeing a as yet unformed future. In this way, we honor the legacy of all those greats who have come before. It is now my great pleasure to introduce President Tom Ross, President of the University of North Carolina, who will bring his greetings.
Governor McCrory, Chancellor Folt, Mr. McMahon, Chairman Caudle, honorees, faculty, staff, students, and friends of the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. I'm honored to be with you here today to celebrate the 221st University Day. As a graduate of Carolina's Law School, a member of the faculty at the School of Government, a past member of the Board of Visitors, and now as president of our great university, I look forward to this day each year. It is a particular honor to share this stage with the governor of our wonderful state. Governor, we welcome you and we look forward to your remarks. It's hard to believe that an entire year has passed since Chancellor Folt stood near this spot and was formally installed as the leader of this amazing institution, one of, if not the best, public universities in the world. As many of you have heard me say, the first time I met Chancellor Folt, I could see in her eyes her passion for students and deep dedication to public higher education. With each passing month, we have clearly seen that her passion and her commitment are both genuine and that they both run deep. Carolina is indeed fortunate to have Carol Folt as Chancellor and to benefit every day from her judgment, experience, energy, integrity, and leadership. Thank you, Chancellor Folt. University Day allows us to reconnect to our roots, roots that run more than 2 centuries deep into the North Carolina soil. And it offers us time to consider Carolina's beginnings, her proud and storied history, and the critical importance of this university to the future of our beloved state. It reminds us for what this university, in particular this campus, stands. And it has been more than 2 centuries. It is proudly our public university. And it is and must remain the university of the people, all the people of this state, whether or not they attend here as students. Whatever challenges we face today or will face tomorrow, we must never lose our clear focus on the university's duty to contribute to the common good, to develop leaders for our communities throughout North Carolina, and to serve those communities in ways to enhance the quality of life for the people who live in them. After all, it is that commitment to our people and our communities, to the public good, which is central to being a great public university. University Day also offers us a chance to come together as a community to reflect on Carolina's vast and ever-growing list of contributions and achievements, while also encouraging us to remember that many of those successes would not have happened, could not have happened without past efforts and sacrifices, along with a very sizable investment over the years by the taxpayers of this state. On this day, we pause to celebrate all that this university represents and all that it contributes. We pause to celebrate those who have led this great institution in the past and those who lead it today. As a state, we must never lose sight of the real value of what we have here. The university is our state's crown jewel and we must renew our collective commitment to preserve it. In doing so, we must continue to demand excellence, the same excellence that has been the hallmark of this university's 221 years, and the same excellence found today among the faculty, staff, and students at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. Thank you for the privilege of being part of this special day, and thank each of you for the enormous contributions you make to our students, to each other, to the university, and to the people of North Carolina. Thank you.
It's now my honor to present Lowry Caudle, Chair of the Board of Trustees, who will bring greetings on behalf of his fellow trustees.
Thank you, Chancellor Folt. Governor McCrory, President Ross, distinguished guests, it is a distinct privilege to bring greetings on behalf of the Board of Trustees of the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. I am honored to represent our board as we celebrate the 221st anniversary of the laying of the cornerstone of Old East and the founding of the first of America's great public universities. I am proud to serve with trustees who offer an impressive array of talents, expertise, energy, and incredible passion for Carolina. Our work focuses on helping Chancellor Folt and her colleagues successfully lead our great university. Today, on this happy occasion of our university's birthday, we celebrate the work of our students, our faculty, and our staff, which is dramatically improving the lives of people of North Carolina, our nation, and our world. We look forward to many more birthdays and opportunities to recognize continued excellence and impact at Carolina.
On illustrious occasions like this, we try to follow protocol, but I goofed, so now I am switching, forgiven very much by my colleagues. It's my honor now to welcome Ed McMahon, representing the Board of Governors, who will bring greetings. Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Governor McCrory, President Ross, members of the Board of Trustees, Chancellor Folt, Provost Dean, distinguished faculty, staff, and guests, I'm honored today to bring greetings on behalf of the University of North Carolina Board of Governors. In my service as a member of the Board of Governors and a proud Carolina alum, it is gratifying for me to participate in the celebration of the 221st anniversary of the beginning of this great university. For over 2 centuries, Carolina has and continues to be one of our nation's most outstanding institutions of higher learning. the entire university takes pride in Carolina's rich history and its treasured traditions. University Day was first celebrated in 1877 and has been the occasion of many historic events. We applaud the importance that you attach to this day. I too, Tom, recall on this day 1 year ago that we installed Chancellor Folt as the 11th Chancellor and the first woman leader of this great university. It is appropriate, once again, to acknowledge her exemplary leadership over the past year. We applaud the vision and energy that you bring to every endeavor, most recently manifested in the launch of the Complete Carolina Initiative, the implementation of major revisions of the UNC sexual misconduct policy, and your commitment to accessibility and to the high standard of transparency, integrity, and accountability. Today, over 220 years after its inception, this university continues to break new ground in academic achievement, staying true to its original purpose and constitutional and statutory mandate of delivering the highest quality education possible to North Carolinians at an affordable cost. Once again, congratulations as you celebrate the 221st University Day. It is really my honor to be a very small part of it. Thank you.
It's now my privilege to introduce Vaughn Bryson, Chair of the General Alumni Association, who will bring greetings on behalf of Carolina's 300,000 plus living alumni.
Thank you, Chancellor Folt and other distinguished participants and guests. On behalf of the General Alumni Association's more than 66,000 members, it is my privilege to join in congratulating this year's Distinguished Alumnus Alumna recipients. For 171 years, the General Alumni Association has remained faithful to our mission of informing and involving Carolina alumni and connecting Carolina's former students with their university. We are pleased that as a self-governed association, we have been effective advocates for Carolina and our communities and our professions, and particularly with members of the North Carolina General Assembly. We know that Carolina alumni, now numbering more than 300,000, and who are the university's only permanent constituency, have a great interest in assuring that their diplomas retain value and prestige. We will do all that we can, working with Chancellor Folt and her administration and the trustees to support today's students who are tomorrow's alumni, and our faculty, whose research, teaching, and service for 221 years has earned our university much respect and admiration, not only across North Carolina, but around the world. Thank you.
I'm now very pleased to introduce Charles Streeter, Chair of the UNC Employee Forum, who will bring greetings.
Good afternoon, Governor McCrory, President Ross, Chancellor Folt, distinguished alumni, and other members of the platform, as well as members of the audience. As Chair of the Employee Forum, it is my honor and privilege to bring to you greetings from the staff of the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. University Day is a day on which we reflect on the history of our institution, its traditions, and the people who have helped to mold UNC into a great place of higher learning. Those people, those individuals, include not only students and faculty, but also staff. If you will, stop and think for a minute about the composition of the university staff 221 years ago. It was probably composed of a few individuals, just a handful, who had very limited duties and responsibilities. Now compare that to the men and women who make up today's staff. We are 8,300 skilled, educated, and focused individuals who oversee and work tirelessly on virtually all aspects of the university. parking, public safety, business and finance, human resources, building and environmental services, technology. These are just a few of the names of the departments and services that we, the staff, provide in order to support everyone at UNC. We are technicians, counselors, administrative professionals, department heads, and even vice chancellors. We have received numerous statewide and national awards and recognition for our work. For more than 200 years, the staff of the university have grown and evolved in size, skill, education, and responsibility, all the while remaining committed to the university's mission of teaching, research, and public service. Our contributions are many, our involvement extensive, and our impact significant. We are a part of UNC Chapel Hill's history, and together, along with the administration, the students, and the faculty, we, the staff, can help forge a path to another successful 200 years. Thank you.
It's now my pleasure to recognize Andrew Powell, Student Body President, and Shelby Dawkins Law, President of the Graduate and Professional Students Federations. Please stand, and we'd like to thank you. One of the greatest pleasures of University Day is the opportunity to acknowledge the achievements of former students. And as faculty, we always think of them that way. Our alumni are truly impressive. Their loyalty, their affection are represented throughout the work of the General Alumni Association, which, as you heard, this year marks its 171st anniversary. Created in 1971 by resolution of the faculty, the Distinguished Alumna and Alumnus Awards recognize outstanding contributions of our alumni. The recipients are approved by Faculty Council and the Board of Trustees upon the recommendation of the respective committees. If you can put humility and pride in the same sentence, I want to say that when you meet these people, you feel so humbled by who they are and what they do, and so incredibly proud of all their work. So it's now my pleasure to present the 2014 awards to ask Executive Vice Chancellor and Provost James Dean and Professor Joseph Farrell, Secretary of the Faculty, to come forward.
Lieutenant General Patricia Horoho is the 43rd Surgeon General of the United States Army. She is the first nurse and the first woman to hold that position since it was established in 1775. Her responsibilities cover all facets of Army medicine, including the U.S. Army Medical Command, the third largest healthcare system in the United States. She also directs the Army's medical and healthcare professional education, scientific research, medical material, logistics, and training of all combat medics. Her many honors include commendation by Time Life Publications for her actions at the Pentagon on September the 11th, 2001, selection in 2002 by the American Red Cross and Nursing Spectrum as one of 15 nurses receiving national recognition as a nurse hero, the USO's 2009 Woman of the Year, and the UNC School of Nursing's 2011 Alumna of the Year. On September 11, 2014, she became the second nurse to speak at TEDMed Live in its 16-year history. Horoho has said that while at Carolina, she learned that nurses can influence healthcare delivery and the lives of patients in all environments through direct and indirect care, policy, legislation, and the business aspects of healthcare. For outstanding accomplishment in the fields of nursing and public service, the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill is pleased to bestow upon Patricia Dallas Horoho this Distinguished Alumni Award.
Will Governor James Baxter Hunt Jr. please come forward?
There are perhaps one or two people in the hall who do not remember when James Jim Hunt was not called governor. He was the first North Carolina governor to be elected to consecutive four-year terms, the state's longest chief-serving executive with 16 years in office, and the first to possess the veto power, although he never used it. Throughout his long career, Hunt has been a strong advocate for public education at all levels. As governor, his influence was visible nationally as creator of the National Board for Professional Teaching Standards and chair of the National Commission on Teaching in America's Future. In higher education, he called for larger stipends and health insurance coverage for graduate students and supported creation of a Distinguished Professors Endowment Fund. He established a reading program in primary schools and advocated for class size limits. He championed creation of the North Carolina School of Science and Mathematics, was instrumental in creation of Smart Start, and helped bring about NC State's Centennial Campus. He also launched efforts to recruit high technology businesses and established the Microelectronics Center in 1980. Today, he continues his lifelong advocacy of education through the James B. Hunt Jr. Institute for Educational Leadership and Policy. For outstanding accomplishment in the field of public service, the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill is pleased to bestow upon James Baxter Hunt Jr. this Distinguished Alumnus Award.
Will Andrew McNally IV please step forward?
If, like mine, your library is overflowing with maps of all sizes and descriptions, blame Sandy McNally. Andrew Sandy McNally is a geographer dedicated to furthering the field of cartography. Since 1899, the McNally family has been in the mapping business through the world-renowned Rand McNally Company. McNally received his undergraduate education at Carolina, as did both of his sons. As chairman and chief executive officer of Rand McNally from 1974 to 1997, he dedicated the firm to providing accurate maps in popular and accessible formats. He is now active in a number of highly successful business ventures. McNally has actively supported Carolina's geography department for many years. He endowed the J. Douglas Ayer Distinguished Lecture Series, which brings distinguished speakers to Carolina for campus keynote campus-wide lectures and opportunities to engage with students and faculty. He has also endowed the McNally Fund for Excellence in Geography and has served on Carolina's Board of Visitors. For outstanding service in the field of cartography and philanthropy, the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill is pleased to bestow upon Andrew McNally IV this Distinguished Alumnus Award.
Will James Richard Patton Jr. please come forward?
Earlier today, at a luncheon in honor of the Distinguished Alumnus Award recipients, Jim Patton spoke movingly of professors that had moved him during his undergraduate days and had led to the career that he had. He said the one thing he was certain of when he was undergraduate was that he did not want to practice law. Nevertheless, he is now recognized nationally and internationally for his accomplishments in the practice of international and public policy law and the foundation of Patton Boggs, one of the nation's most influential law firms. The firm has been ranked in the top 100 law firms by the American Lawyer every year since 2002. In his senior year at Carolina, Patton bought his first rare book, a fine copy of the first edition of Robinson Jeffers' The Californians. During the decades that followed, Patton amassed an exceptionally comprehensive collection of Jeffers and also a series of other important 20th century literary collections, all of them distinguished for their depth and the exquisitely fine condition of the individual pieces. In 1995, Patton donated to Carolina's rare book collection his holdings of James Dickey, Sylvia Plath, and Ted Hughes. 20 years later, Patton continues to give such important items as his comprehensive collection of Jeffers material and a collection of the works of James Joyce that is remarkable for including virtually all of Joyce's publications, many of them signed and all in impeccable condition. For outstanding accomplishment in the fields of international and public policy law and philanthropy, the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill is pleased to confer upon James Richard Patton Jr. this Distinguished Alumnus Award.
Will Wade Marvin Smith please come forward?
If you seek the exemplar of the student athlete, look no further. Here stands Wade Smith. Wade has been one of North Carolina's best known and most acclaimed lawyers for nearly 50 years. He was an All-American high school football player with many scholarship offers, but he chose to accept a Moorhead scholarship to Carolina, where he excelled in both academics and athletics. He was co-captain of the football team and was inducted into the Order of the Golden Fleece. In 1964, he and his classmate, J. Harold Tharrington, founded the law firm of Tharrington Smith. Smith's prowess as a trial lawyer is legendary. In 2008, the North Carolina Bar Association established the annual Wade M. Smith Award, quote, for a criminal defense attorney who exemplifies the highest ideals of the profession. He has been included in the annual list of best lawyers in America for 25 years in succession. Smith served 2 terms in the North Carolina General Assembly. He has chaired the Board of Directors of the General Alumni Association, is a recipient of its Distinguished Service Medal, and is the permanent president of the class of 1960. For outstanding accomplishment in the field of legal practice, the University of North Carolina is pleased to confer upon Wade Marvin Smith this Distinguished Alumnus Award.
The Edward Kidder Graham Faculty Service Award recognizes a member of the faculty whose work exemplifies the university's mission to serve the state of North Carolina, the nation, and the world. UNC President Graham transformed the university through the introduction of public service, calling for the faculty to, quote, make the state take on the state and all its practical problems, and make that a legitimate field of study. His directive is carried out today through the university's modern mission to extend knowledge-based service worldwide. This year's recipient is Krista Perreira, Professor of Public Policy and Associate Dean for Undergraduate Research. Will Dr. Perreira please come forward?
Krista Perreira is a health economist who studies disparities in health, education, and economic well-being and interrelationships between family, health, and social policy, especially as they affect Hispanic Latino families and their children. Two of her current research projects are illustrative. The Hispanic Community Health Study, a study of Latinos, seeks to determine the role of acculturation in the prevalence of disease in the Hispanic Latino community, and to identify risk factors that play a protective or harmful role. Implementing health care reform in North Carolina aims to identify challenges in enrolling low-income families into health care options available under the Affordable Care Act. Perreira holds degrees from the University of California at Berkeley, Yale University, and Pomona College. Among her honors is the 2010 Hettleman Prize for Scholarly Achievement by a young faculty member. For distinguished service to the state, the nation, and the university, her faculty colleagues are pleased to bestow upon Krista Perreira the 2014 Edward Kidder Graham Faculty Service Award.
Please join me once more in congratulating and thanking all of these amazing people. They honor us very much with their presence today. And now I'd like to welcome the UNC Chamber Singers, conducted by Professor Susan Klebenow. Now, please join me in welcoming Dr. Bruce Cairns, Chair of the Faculty, who will introduce our guest speaker.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you very much, Chancellor Folt. As chair of the faculty, it is a distinct honor for me to represent the university community as we welcome back to Chapel Hill the 74th governor of the great state of North Carolina, the Honorable Patrick McCrory, as we celebrate the 221st year of the founding of the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, the oldest and indeed the greatest public university in the nation. Prior to being elected to our state's highest office, Governor McCrory was the mayor of Charlotte for a record 14 years, and he is the first mayor from the Queen City to be elected governor of North Carolina. Now, our connection with Charlotte runs deep, as our founding father, William Richardson Davie, attended Queens College in his early years, and the seeds for this university were planted in Charlotte during the Revolutionary War. While mayor, Governor McCrory presided over a city that experienced dramatic growth, blossomed as a major banking hub, and emerged as a major economic development force for North Carolina and the entire Southeast. Today, we appreciate that Governor McCrory is bringing that same commitment, energy, and passion that led to Charlotte's impressive growth to the governor's office while he addresses the tough challenges that North Carolina faces today. On this University Day, we are also grateful that Governor McCrory understands the powerful role that public higher education has in helping people across our state in all 100 counties while they address the challenges that North Carolinians face every day. We also appreciate that Governor McCrory recognizes and applauds Carolina's long, rich history of producing critical thinkers and, yes, doers in the humanities, the liberal arts, the sciences, the technical fields, and beyond. As a surgeon, professor, and director of the North Carolina J.C. Burn Center, I am personally grateful to the governor for his support of the UNC healthcare system. On one of his first visits to campus after taking office, Governor McCrory and his wife, Ann, joined Chancellor Folt and School of Medicine Dean Bill Roper and others to visit the North Carolina Children's Hospital to proclaim Childhood Cancer Awareness Month, and they met with patients, family, and staff, and saw firsthand and commented on how the vital work of the university is transforming people and saving lives. Thank you, Governor, for your service to the people of North Carolina and for honoring the university and its traditions by being today's keynote speaker. So I would ask everyone to please rise as we welcome the Honorable Pat McCrory, the 74th Governor of the state of North Carolina. Thank you very much.
Thank you all very much. Mr. President, Madam Chancellor, Mr. Governor, and all the distinguished alumnus. It's a very big honor for me to be here. It was 1974. It was 1974. In fact, in 3 short years from 1974, Governor Hunt, Jim Hunt, would be serving his first of 4 terms as governor of North Carolina. I was a senior at Ragsdale High School in Jamestown, North Carolina. My brother Phil was an incoming freshman here in the class of 1974, right here at Carolina. A buddy of mine from high school gave me a ride to Carolina to visit my brother. He dropped me off on Franklin Street. I proceeded to get into my brother's 1972 128 Fiat. I told him to turn on the air conditioner. It was hot. He said, "Brother, first, this car doesn't have air conditioner. And the second, we're in Chapel Hill. We roll down the windows here and enjoy the fresh air." We proceeded to drive and walk around the campus, and he showed me Carmichael, where my hero growing up, Charlie Scott, wearing number 33, had played. Scott was the first African-American basketball player, sadly, very late, welcome to the ACC. We visited the planetarium and watched the stars. We took pictures right across the street here of the old well and the Davie Poplar, of which we celebrate the history today. We walked down Franklin Street and enjoyed the restaurants and, yes, a few bars. The only thing that ruined the day was when we visited his freshman dorm, Hinton James. Whew. I think that dorm looks just the same today as it did back in 1974. I was in awe, however. This campus was the most beautiful university I'd ever visited. It was an environment that was second to none. It was a place I respected and a place I wanted to return to and did return to many times throughout my life. And today, as I return as the 74th governor of North Carolina, I return with the same awe and respect for this campus as I did back in 1974. Chapel Hill is the pinnacle. It is the benchmark for all of education in North Carolina. It is the place where the brightest from across the state, the nation, and the world come to learn. It is where the best of the best come to fulfill their potential. It is where our future scientists, lawyers, teachers, inventors, entrepreneurs, and leaders formulate their initial dreams and visions. It is the job of this governor and of your incredible new chancellor and each one of you to strengthen, reform, and adapt the UNC brand and heritage to the ever-changing competitive environment of the 21st century. Yet both your chancellor and I, who came in during very similar time periods, first had to face short-term obstacles that we had to fix and reform. As governor, I inherited the 5th highest unemployment rate in the country, a debt of more than $2.5 billion owed to the federal government for unemployment insurance, a $530 million misforecast for Medicaid, and I also had to deal with teachers who sadly had not had a decent pay raise for over 5 years, and also an empty rainy day reserve account that needed desperate replenishment. Due to some very tough decisions that my administration and others had to take during the past year and a half, these problems are now being resolved. We've had one of the largest drops in unemployment in the country. We've paid down most of our debt. We now have, for the first time, Dr. Roper, a surplus in Medicaid, but many, many more challenges to go ahead. We've replenished our reserve accounts, and yes, teachers, K through 12 teachers, have a substantial pay raise for the first time in many years. Now we all have to focus on long-term strategies to fulfill our state's potential in areas like healthcare, commerce, transportation, and of course, education. Your new chancellor also inherited the consequences of pockets of bad policy and, frankly, poor oversight that did not meet the standards or ethics of this great university. She has done an excellent job in listening, taking charge, and making much-needed change. And one shining example is working directly with the faculty members here in the front rows to end grade inflation. This new policy attains the goal of our state motto, esse quam videre, to be rather than to seem. Honest grading should now be the standard on all of our state campuses, with Chapel Hill again showing the positive way for the future. Before we finalize our visions for our universities, we must first come to an agreement as to what the purpose and function of our universities and our university sim is and what it should not be. First, we should all demand that our universities are allowed to be universities. We should not support the continued use of limited public resources for remedial coursework. We should only accept students ready for the collegiate level, especially here at Chapel Hill. We must invest in the best that are ready for college academics at the time of high school graduation. High school graduates who do not learn at the same pace, which happened to me coming out of high school, need to be offered other, more efficient and targeted options to give them the same opportunity of success in the future, including right here at Carolina. Our universities should also not be used to indoctrinate our students to become, yes, liberals or conservatives, but should teach a diversity of opinions which allow our future leaders to decide for themselves. We can also no longer afford to have our universities be used as an illicit drug and alcohol playground that leads to substance abuse, danger, and harm for the next generation. This rite of passage, which my generation, and yes, even myself, sadly helped participate in and initiate when I was much younger, continues to inflict tragedy on students and families and also causes serious long-term health and addiction consequences on our communities and our families. We must immediately educate and help students who are dealing with addiction. Chancellor Folt, I want to personally thank you for allowing new initiatives of education, counseling, and enforcement on your campus that will combat this very, very serious issue of substance abuse. Let me be frank about another sensitive rite of passage. Although athletic programs are an important part of campus life and culture, we must follow the advice of Dr. William Friday, as quoted by Professor Hodding Carter at Dr. Friday's memorial service right here in this beautiful auditorium. The quote was the following: "People do not want their lifetime measured by how much their football team won or lost. There is something valuable they want measured on their intellectual tombstone when the time comes, and it will come." End of quote. Dr. Friday said this days before he passed away. He was right then, and his words still ring today for all of our universities. So what should the intellectual purpose of our universities be, and what return should they generate to justify the public's investment of approximately $22,000 per student per academic year here at Chapel Hill and other great campuses throughout the state? First, and I totally agree with the introduction, our universities must continue to be an environment where our students can exercise their brains and be free to think, explore, solve problems, adapt, and innovate. Regardless of their major, we must teach knowledge that is essential for a free person to actively participate in civic, professional, and family life. This is the definition of liberal arts: history, language, literature, religion, philosophy, the sciences, mathematics, business, and civics. Our students must continue to develop and build their intellectual capacity for logic and judgment. Chapel Hill must continue to provide the environment and requirements to fulfill this important mission. This knowledge, however, is not the only criteria that must be attained for the monetary investment made by students, parents, and taxpayers. To ensure we get a return on our investment, and more importantly, to ensure that no more students at any of our universities graduate with a huge debt and no job comparable to their investment, universities must continue to help decrease the job gap by honing in on skills and subjects employers need while also stimulating a student's passion and interest. My own opportunities after Ragsdale High School were enhanced when I not only obtained a BA in political science at Catawba College, but a North Carolina teaching certification that helped my marketability to get a job right out of college. Let's be honest about the skills gap in our nation and our state. First, we must face up to the degree that a job skills gap does exist. Earlier this year, our Commerce Department surveyed nearly 800 North Carolina businesses. 40% of those businesses said the lack of experience, lack of skills, and education credentials were the biggest obstacles to hiring talent and workers. To compensate, some were increasing overtime for existing employees, doubling up on jobs, changing job duties, or simply not filling critical jobs that we need in this great state. My friends, these findings are a wake-up call. If employers in North Carolina cannot find qualified graduates and workers to meet their market needs and their demands, they have told me they will move elsewhere, and everyone will lose: students, taxpayers, and frankly, the future of education funding, and that is unacceptable. We must encourage and reward those universities that place more students in high-demand fields, and universities and students must quickly adapt to the ever-changing market movements and demands on public dollars. Now, we're almost there, but there's one important ingredient that for the past 50 years and next century must continue to be a major part of this university and this university system, and that is innovation and research. Innovation is the fuel of the modern American economy. Between 1/3 and 1/2 of U.S. economic growth comes from the products, services, and practices spawned by innovation. Innovation lives right here at UNC, Chapel Hill, because at its core, innovation is nothing more than the application of creativity, science, and technology. We have the ingredients to grow North Carolina's economy, particularly in the high-tech sector. North Carolina is above the national average in terms of academic research and development dollars. However, we must be honest, the state is below the national average in the percentage of its businesses in the high-tech sector. To address this, I recently convened an Innovation to Jobs Working Group, and here are the 3 challenges they communicated to me just last week at the Governor's Mansion. First, translation. There is insufficient development and/or dissemination of university-based structure and practices for technology commercialization. Second, capitalization. There is insufficient funding for technology, proof of concept, validation, IP protection, commercialization, early and mid-stage development, production, and business expansion. And third, operation. There's an insufficient number and utilization of seasoned, mature business professionals to run startups and guide companies through growth and expansion. This same group, however, working with these universities' leaders, are coming up with specific recommendations on how we can deal with each of these 3 things. My goal for North Carolina, to follow some of the visionary leadership of my predecessors, is for North Carolina to become the 3rd vertex of what I call America's Innovation Triangle. On one point of this 2 vertices of research is the Silicon Valley in California. Another portion of this triangle is the Boston, New York area. I want North Carolina to be the 3rd vertex in this triangle. We have the talent, we have the universities, we have the entrepreneurs, and we can make this happen because we also have the competitive advantage. And we've got a team that's going to make this happen, and this university is going to make sure we're a major part of that team and we're a successful part of this national innovation triangle. Now, to make that happen, we can't do it here at Chapel Hill alone. We need to become teammates, yes, with even some of our athletic rivals. And that includes Wake Forest, NC State, and yes, even Duke. We must share the talent, the resources, and the innovation. Now, our state faces significant challenges, but I'm confident North Carolina will not only meet these challenges, but thrive because of people like Zach Clayton. In fact, I met Zach just last week at the Governor's Mansion about a week ago. He is a graduate at the University of North Carolina right here at Chapel Hill, and as an undergrad, he started his own web and mobile application development company. Upon graduation, he went on to found and serve as CEO of a data-driven digital marketing company. That's 2 companies that he created by the time he was 25 years old. This is a Carolina graduate that was taught the basics and the skills and understands the type of innovation that will fuel North Carolina's future economic growth. And just this morning on my iPad, I read about Tom Meyer, Director of Energy Frontier Research Center for Solar Fuels. He just received a $1 million prize from the country of Israel, the state of Israel. I'd like to congratulate this distinguished professor. As an institution, especially with your new leadership, I am so confident that UNC Chapel Hill will respond to the institutional challenges of lowering costs for our students, using technology to distribute education more efficiently, and digitally expanding the campus boundaries to rural North Carolina, which is our greatest challenge in this state at this point in time. I am confident that the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill will be at the forefront of the new paradigm in which universities are judged by the qualitative outcomes produced by their students and not necessarily just by the number of students who are enrolled. You know, in 1984, I was a basketball referee, and I refereed an ACC All-Star game. And I called traveling on the greatest basketball player ever to put on a pair of tennis shoes. What do you think his name was? Of course, it was Michael Jordan, a UNC graduate. When I made the traveling call, I got a few boos. It was a tough call and an unpopular call, but it was the right call. He traveled. I hate to say it, he traveled. He moved his pivot foot. All the leaders and future leaders in this auditorium must continue to make the tough calls and decisions to ensure that future generations can fulfill their potential for North Carolina. I'm confident that all of us will. And when I leave this campus today, I will continue to be in awe and show total respect and be proud of this great university and its history. As much as I was proud and in awe of it when I toured this great campus in 1974. And when I leave this campus, I'll take the same advice that my brother gave to me over 40 years ago. As I get into the governor's vehicle with security now, I will make sure that we don't turn on the heat or the air conditioner today. I will roll down the windows, and I will take in the beauty, and I will enjoy the fresh air of Chapel Hill. It is our university, it is your university, it is the best university that's important for our future. May God continue to bless this great university, and may God continue to bless the great people of this state of North Carolina. Thank you very much for this honor. Thank you very much.
You sure he was traveling?
He's corrected me several times.
Thank you so much, Governor McCrory, for your remarks. That was really wonderful. And thank you, everyone who's here today, for joining us to celebrate the founding of the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. Today, as we reflect on the past and we look to the future, we must also acknowledge that the present isn't perfect. It never is. We have and we always will continue to face challenges. But if, as a community, we face them with courage and creativity, they will become our greatest opportunities. And at doing it this way, we will also be honoring the lessons from our founders and our honorees and speakers today as they help us model our future. There's a challenge that I want to accept today on all of our behalves. The bricks that I think we want to add in our own time are to create a history that is as meaningful, as game-changing, and life-affirming as the one that has come before. Earlier this year, I cut the ribbon on the dedication of Marsico Hall, our newest state-of-the-art research building. And this beautiful facility, as you probably know, was made possible completely due to the thanks to the financial commitment of the General Assembly and the people of North Carolina. But as Steve Jobs once said, technology alone will not be enough. It flourishes most when it's blended with other forms of learning. He said, if technology is married with the liberal arts, if it's married with the humanities, it will make our hearts sing. And I think that blending is Carolina's special sauce. It's the way that we work every day to create the dynamic future, and as the governor said, to make the impossible possible. It was Davy's dream, it was Chase's dream, it's the dream of so many people that you have heard about today. It's my dream, and I'm sure it's all of your dreams. And together, I think we will make a history that will be the future that our community will live. And I think I couldn't imagine a better community to be doing it with. Now, before closing, I want to make one last special set of thanks, and that's to thank the members of the ceremonial band and Jeff Fuchs, the band director, for their wonderful performance today. As the ceremonial band plays, we'd like you to please stand and join in singing our alma mater, Hark the Sound. And after the alma mater, please remain standing as the faculty and staff recess. Thank you.